Well, earlier we saw Celtic beat Aberdeen. Next up for the champions, the clash with Rangers on September the 10th. Mark Warburton's side began the weekend top of the table. They kicked things off on Friday night. Away to Kilmarnock team with yet more new faces in the ranks. Commentary comes from John Barnes.
Lee Clark's made 6 changes to his Kilmarnock side from last week. Miles Addison's injured, so Jonathan Byrne returns to central defence. Dicker, Hawkshaw, Taylor, Kiltie and Frizzell also come in. Joe Dodu comes in to take the place of Andy Halliday, who's on the Rangers bench. Danny Wilson was injured in the warm-up, so Clint Hill has been given a late call-up to the Rangers starting line-up. Here's Barton, finding Lee Wallace in behind the full-back, trying to lob that one in. Jamie MacDonald took that one cleanly. It was a collision there as Will Boyle was trying to track the run of Dodu. Rangers fans get the first chance to see Joe Garner, a new signing on the bench. Hawkshaw swings in the free kick. Well, that was driven in by Frizzell, and it looked to come off the arm of Clint Hill. Killie are claiming for the penalty. Kevin Clancy has ignored the appeals. Kiltie chipping it in, looking for Boyd. Away by Kiernan. Here's Gary Dicker. An impressive start by the home team. The midfielder going close there. But this was the incident that Dodu seemed to injure himself as he fell. And he's going to take no further part in the game. And that means that the new signing, Garner, will come in to take the applause of the Rangers supporters. Taylor has Boyd. Well, Chris Boyd, usually so lethal from that distance, he just didn't get a proper connection there to turn it beyond Fotheringham. Forrester with a corner. In goes Garner. Well, he's been held there as he tried to swing that effort in by Hendrie. Barton was also grounded by Gary Dicker. It looked like a bit of wrestling in the penalty spot. Mackay trying to thread it through. Good interception though by Byrne. This is Kiltie. Through for Chris Boyd. And Kilmarnock are in front. And it's a former Rangers striker delivering for his present club. We've seen him do this all so often onside. And he drilled it beyond Fotheringham. Excellent finish. And Kilmarnock are 1-0 to the good. Boys' 101st goal for the Rugby Park club. Kiernan. Nice little flick by Tavernier. Linking it with Garner. It's Tavernier. Well, James Tavernier, always adventurous coming forward. He just couldn't provide the finish. Kiernan looking towards Garner. He's turned well away from Boyle and for Miller. Garner again. He's gone to ground. No penalty, says Kevin Clancy. Well, it looks as though Garner made the most of that one. Tavernier away by Smith. There's a challenge there from Hawkshaw, sliding in and Mackay. He claims he got the ball. This is James Tavernier's range. What a strike that is from the Rangers fullback. His second goal of the season. Jamie MacDonald tried to get across. He got a hand to it, but he couldn't keep it out. An outstanding effort from Tavernier, and Rangers are back in level terms. Charging forward is Frizzell, who has a lunging challenge from Greg Taylor, and it's a red card. It was a wild tackle from the Kilmarnock teenager on Joey Barton, He caught him with the studs on the shin. Very dangerous. Or will it be Halliday with the free kick or Tavernier? It's Tavernier again! An outstanding save by Jamie MacDonald, up to the task this time. Mackay trying to get beyond Hendrie. Still Mackay! And touched away by Jamie MacDonald. Fine goalkeeping again by the Kilmarnock number 1.
I thought we were excellent. And when you go down to 10 men against a team like Rangers who pass it and rotate around the pitch the way they do with the quality they have, for us to stay in the game, I mean, we've only been pegged back by a world-class free kick. So I thought, well, real value for our lead at half-time. And I just thought the performance was very, very good.
So a good point for Kilmarnock. Terrible tackle on Joey Barton, and questions still remain over this Rangers side, it's fair to say. New additions, Stephen, into the squad, but are Rangers this season better than they were last season?
I think they've got better players. I think they've got more options. But for me, the chemistry's wrong. The balance of last year's team was better, and I think last year's team was actually a better team than this team that's playing right now.
So, Michael, does that mean that there's a question mark over their recruitment?
Well, I mean, you could say that, but I think that, you know, Tom was right in what he says. There has been better players that have been, you know, acquired. It's just that mixture and that balance in the side hasn't been sought yet. So only time will tell, really, whether the recruitment has been a success or not.
Do you think, you know, they've spent £1.75 million on Joe Gardner up front, an area where I think they're reasonably strong? Would they not have been better spending that money on a young centre-half with a bit of pace?
Well, they could, or, I mean, well, to be honest, you look at the fact that when Mark Warburton went into the club, he was very quick to get rid of Darren McGregor, who was a fast, you know, athletic defender who could, you know, help out in these situations. I mean, this is something I spoke about last year with Aberdeen and St Johnstone. Full-backs going and attacking the ball. The centre-half's got to go and deal with that, and Tavernier drops off, and then the problem's eliminated.
This is how it should be, Mikey. This is the set-up how it should be with Rob Kiernan there. But Rob Kiernan gets dragged out to the ball. Tavernier then can't recover into an area to affect Chris Boyd. He's in no man's land, and Chris Boyd really should have scored. You can see Clint Hill's furious that Rob Kiernan's going out of position. And this one, Greg Kiltie here, runs past Joey Barton as if he's not there. He can't recover, but then it's all about Chris Boyd. The timing of this run is just absolute textbook, finishing for his 250th goal. But the biggest concern for me there is Chris Boyd's running away from your centre-halves.
And that goal, you could just imagine, you know, that front four from Celtic, Kiltie picking the ball up and driving past the midfield, could easily be a Rogic, a Forrest or a Sinclair, and then Lee Griffiths, that's what he lives off. He lives off that space in behind on the last defender. So these are the things that Rangers are going to have to, you know, combat and make sure they limit those opportunities for Celtic.
Well, that is the big question now. Obviously, the match with Celtic, a week on Saturday. Can this Rangers defence cope? And a lot of talk about Philip Senderos as well. Is he the answer?
Well, I'm not convinced if he is.
Not in terms of pace, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of it is down to structure as well. You know, looked at those things there. They're all little, small, individual things that if they get nailed down in training, that would help. But I'm not sure that that's a part of the game that is of most importance to Rangers.
How do you see the match with Celtic going? I mean, obviously we've got the international break, but all eyes will very swiftly turn to that game.
I'm unconvinced by Rangers this season. In fits and starts, they've played well, but not in long periods in games, and they've not really dominated a game yet for me. Celtic have dominated every game they've played and look so convincing, and especially going forward in forward areas, and you'd have to say Rangers don't look that great defensively, so for me it tees up towards a Celtic victory.
We have to give credit to Kilmarnock as well. For large parts of the match, they controlled it. They really dominated Rangers for the first 45. A 45 that Mark Warburton referred to as possibly the worst Rangers performance in his reign.
Yeah, so I think you know, quite clearly you've got to attribute that down to the fact that Kilmarnock's level of performance was top drawer, and you know, full credit to them. But for them, they've got to carry that on into other games, because their season's going to be defined not by the games against Rangers, but by the games that they're going to compete against teams in and around them at the bottom of the table.